Today, we're exploring the story of Bryan Kohberger, a narrative of dark intrigue, unexpected twists, and a tragic ending that shook a quiet college town to its core. Bryan Kohberger, born and raised in Pennsylvania, was a bright student with a keen interest in criminology. He appeared to be someone destined for a career in law enforcement, studying the criminal mind to help catch offenders. His journey began at DeSales University, where he earned his bachelor's degree in psychology and later a master's degree in criminology. Professors and classmates saw him as a dedicated, if somewhat intense, student. In 2022, Kohberger's life took a dramatic turn. He moved to Washington State University to pursue a PhD in criminology, located near the University of Idaho. On a cold November night, the peaceful town of Moscow, Idaho, was shattered by a horrific crime. 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were found brutally murdered in their off-campus house. The community was in shock, the police were stumped, and fear gripped the town. Evidence started pointing toward Bryan Kohberger. The authorities pieced together a case using DNA evidence, cell phone records, and surveillance footage. Bryan's DNA was found on a knife sheath left at the crime scene, providing a direct genetic link. Surveillance footage from the night of the murders showed a white Hyundai Elantra near the crime scene, a vehicle Kohberger drove. Additionally, cell phone records placed Kohberger near the victim's house multiple times in the weeks leading up to the murders, suggesting premeditation. The investigation was thorough and meticulous. Forensic experts worked tirelessly to piece together the events of that night. The crime scene was processed with great care, revealing a violent struggle had taken place. Blood spatter analysis, fingerprint dusting, and the collection of every possible piece of evidence were crucial steps in building a solid case. Kohberger's fascination with the criminal mind extended beyond academic interest. He allegedly visited crime forums and interacted with criminals online, trying to understand their motivations. He had participated in a research project at DeSales University that involved asking criminals detailed questions about their thoughts and feelings during the commission of their crimes. This project, intended to help understand criminal psychology, now seemed like Bryan had been gathering information for his own use. Investigators also looked into Kohberger's digital footprint. They discovered that he had been searching for information about the victims and the ongoing investigation. His internet history showed a disturbing pattern of searches related to the crime and methods of evading law enforcement. This digital trail painted a picture of someone who was not only interested in crime, but also obsessed with it. On December 30th, 2022, Bryan was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. The news of his arrest sent shockwaves through the academic community and the public. How could someone so well-versed in criminology be accused of such a heinous crime? As Bryan awaited trial, the details of the investigation painted a chilling picture. The prosecution's case was built on solid evidence, including Bryan's digital footprint and forensic data. The defense, however, insisted on his innocence, arguing that the evidence was circumstantial and that Bryan was being unfairly targeted. The media frenzy surrounding the case was intense. True crime enthusiasts, journalists, and social media sleuths dissected every piece of information that emerged. People were captivated by the irony of a criminology student allegedly turning into a criminal. Further investigations revealed more about Kohberger's background. Interviews with former classmates and teachers painted a picture of a man who was intelligent but socially awkward. He was described as someone who struggled to connect with others and often displayed odd behavior. These details added another layer of complexity to the case, raising questions about Kohberger's mental state and motivations. In preparation for the trial, both the prosecution and defense teams worked tirelessly. The prosecution aimed to present a compelling narrative of premeditation and cold-blooded murder, supported by a mountain of evidence. They planned to call numerous expert witnesses, including forensic scientists, digital analysts, and behavioral psychologists, to testify about the evidence and Kohberger's potential motives. The defense, on the other hand, sought to poke holes in the prosecution's case. They questioned the reliability of the DNA evidence, suggested the possibility of contamination, and argued that the digital footprint could be misinterpreted. They also planned to highlight Kohberger's academic achievements and argue that he was a victim of circumstance, wrongly accused in a desperate attempt to solve a high-profile case. As the trial date approached, public interest in the case grew. media outlets from across the country descended on the small town of Moscow, Idaho, turning it into the epicenter of a national spectacle. The families of the victims, seeking justice for their loved ones, prepared to face the ordeal of the trial, hoping for closure and accountability. Bryan's trial is expected to be long and complicated. The court will have to unravel the mystery of his motives and determine whether he truly committed the crime.